This is an MJA Inc. Investigations warning. This MJA podcast is rated E for explicit. Some details of a case and language used on this podcast might be upsetting to some of our listeners. Listeners' discretion is advised. And for those who are still with us, kick back and enjoy the show. When there is an ending, there was a beginning. Every victim has a picture to paint. Every true crime has its time and place. Please join our MJ podcast, the series Deep into the Woods, Missing Persons, Unsolved Crimes, and the Does. Welcome to our MJ podcast, this series, Deep into the Woods. This is episode 19, part 4, Missing Maura Murray and the Search. My name is Mark, and I will be your host for tonight's show. Also joining me later will be our co-host, Olivia. Also joining Olivia and I for tonight's show will be our newest MJ staff members, Allie and Jess. We are coming to you from our home office in Plattsburgh, New York, located in the Adirondack Mountains. MJA has been working on this case since November 2005, meeting Mr. Murray at the Wells River Motel in Vermont. I can honestly say this is one of the most confusing cases MJA has ever worked on. What's haunting is, after 17 years, nothing connected to Miss Murray has been located. In most cases like these, you end up finding something connected to the missing person. In return, that leads you to several avenues to follow and sometimes to a suspect. There has been a massive area search trying to locate Miss Murray in these past 17 years. And that's why it's so hard to grasp that nothing has ever been found. On February 9th, 2004, after 7 p.m., UMass college student Maura Murray went missing after a one-car accident on Route 112 outside of Woodsville, New Hampshire. Media stories claims that the Westmans called 911 after Mrs. Westman heard a thud and looked out her window and saw a car in the road not moving. Reports go on to say that school bus driver Butch Atwood stopped in his bus and asked the female if she needed any help. The female replied no, she had done called AAA. The bus driver Atwood knew that was a lie, for there was no cell phone service in that area. Atwood drove about 100 yards to his home, parked the bus, and went inside to call 911 about the accident, stating that the female wasn't hurt, just shook up a little bit. Okay, at this time, we have 2 911 calls about the one-car accident. The reports go on to say the female gathered some things from the vehicle and started walking east on Route 112. When just a few minutes later, the police and the EMTs arrived and Miss Murray had vanished without a trace. But police didn't follow protocols. They didn't approach the scene in both directions. The female was reported walking east, and police didn't come from that direction. They all came from the west, heading east. If the police would have approached the area from the east, heading west, they might have seen Miss Murray. It was reported more than likely the reason Miss Murray left her vehicle was she had alcohol in the vehicle, so she may have been drinking. So she had to put distance between her and the vehicle. It was reported that Miss Murray got an upsetting phone call while working at the UMass dorm security desk not long before Miss Murray left, and claiming the phone call is why Miss Murray left UMass. It was reported that Miss Murray sent emails to her professors claiming she would be out of class for a few days because of a death in the family. The reports went on to say that there was no death in Miss Murray's family. Statements have been made that Miss Murray was running away, that she started a new life in Canada, that she walked up into the snowy mountains to die from the elements. Say what you will, none of that makes sense with the victim profile we have. MJA claims Miss Murray was abducted by an unknown predator. We believe the abduction took place just past Bradley Hill Road. There is a slight curve to where if you look back, you can't see the crash site. It's the first blind spot on Route 112 from the crash site. It's also close to where the canines lost Miss Murray's scent. On May 27th, 2021, MJA arrived at the All Seasons Motel in Woodsville, New Hampshire around 2 p.m. On the 27th and 28th of May, we developed two new sources of info. The sources confirmed many things that we had been concerned about. On the 27th and 28th, we also drove to possible search locations. On the 29th of May, we met two women, Jess and Allie, from Vermont at Shiloh's in Woodsville, New Hampshire, for breakfast. After breakfast, we took Allie and Jess to the ravine we have been searching off and on since 2017. Jess and Allie went about 200 feet in the ravine and searched for over a quarter of a mile before the ravine got too deep to climb out without ropes. I was impressed with their work and their steady pace. Then we all met back at our motel room and had a long conversation. During the middle of all this, I asked the two to join MJA, which they did. Welcome Jess and Allie to our MJA family. On May 30th, 2021, MJA met another local contact who we have become friends with at Shiloh's for breakfast, which the meeting will last at least 2 hours. The conversation was deep in content with yet another avenue to follow. Let's take a pause for the cause, and when we return, our co-host, Olivia, will be on the line. Also joining us will be our two newest MJA staff members, Jess and Allie. Be back in a moment. Welcome back to our MJA podcast, this series, Deep into the Woods. This is episode 19, part 4, Missing Maura Murray and the Search. We have on the line our co-host, Olivia. How are you doing tonight, Olivia?
Doing well, thank you.
And joining us on the line tonight is Allie and Jess. How are you tonight, Jess?
I'm good.
And so, Allie, how are you doing tonight?
I'm great, thank you.
Okay, Jess, how long have you and Allie known each other?
We've known each other for about 10 years.
And Allie, where did you two first meet?
We actually met at a job. We both worked at a call center together.
And what was the business?
It was a flooring installation company. We worked in different departments, but we were both there.
All right. And Jess, can you please tell our listeners and viewers how you got involved working on unsolved mysteries?
So I've always been interested in unsolved mysteries, especially missing persons cases. And as I got older, I realized I could actually take part in volunteer searches. And when I saw a search was taking place for Maura Murray this year, I realized I finally had a chance to help, and that's how I met MJA.
And Allie, the same question. How did you get involved in unsolved mysteries?
Kind of doing the same thing. I grew up, as silly as it sounds, watching forensic files with my dad as a kid, and always had an interest. And again, as the time that we live in now, it makes it easier to be involved and to try to help in any way that we can. We want to be there and do what we can.
Okay. And Jess, when did you first hear about missing Maura Murray?
I first learned of her disappearance a few days after it happened when the local news outlets started reporting it. The weather barn's only a couple hours away from me, and it just caught my attention, and I've just been kind of following it since.
And Allie, the same question. When did you first hear about Miss Murray?
Again, right around the time of the disappearance, being pretty local and around the same age, it hit close to home, and it was always something that we remembered. And again, with it hitting so close to home, it left a mark, and you can't forget her. You can't just let it be on the family. You can't just, I don't know. I can't explain it.
Okay. And have you two been involved in any searching for Miss Murray on your own?
So we planned to take part in the scheduled search last month, but it ended up getting canceled. We ended up still taking our trip to New Hampshire, and we met up with Mark, who brought us out to search an area, and that was actually our first search experience.
Okay. And do you two keep up with the social media concerning Miss Murray's case?
I'm a member of several Facebook groups, including the official group run by the Murray family.
The same, yes, I do too.
Okay. And have you two joined any other websites or other rooms concerning unsolved mysteries?
I follow some Reddit threads, and I browse on Web Sleuth. MJA recently introduced me to the Unsolved Mystery site, the not related to the TV show one.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool site. Yeah. And Allie, when did you first hear about missing Brianna Maitland from Montgomery, Vermont?
Again, around the same time that it happened. I know it was very close to the time that Miss Murray disappeared. And again, it's very close to home, being from Vermont, born and raised. And again, I think I was a year older than Brianna, if I remember right.
Okay, yeah. The abductions happened 37 days apart. And just the same question, when did you hear about Miss Maitland?
Same, right as soon as they knew she was missing, just because it was kind of scary to hear of two young girls disappearing off the side of the road, kind of, in small towns in New England, and they were, on the news coverage because it was pretty close by.
Okay. And have you two done any searching concerning Miss Maitland on your own?
No, we haven't been involved in any searches, but I hope that in the future, if there are any, that we're able to take part of that.
Oh yeah, we got some coming up. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I've driven by the location of where the home was. The building's not there anymore, but
yeah, it burnt
hard
down.
to forget that.
Yeah, it burnt down. I forget how many years ago. Okay, Olivia, you can take over with the questioning.
Okay, girls, are there any other cases that you two have looked into besides Brianna and Maura's cases?
I follow a few missing cases and just some other unsolved cases in general.
Yeah, and on the same, we're looking into one that sounds like together shortly here that we're still gathering some information on, and we'll be reaching out to family members and discussing what we can do to help.
Okay, can you name the cases, or would you rather not?
So in addition to Maura and Brianna's disappearances, I do kind of look at Vermont's other missing persons cases.
Okay.
Jennifer Kessie in Florida was one. And for unsolved crimes, I follow Abby and Libby in Indiana and kind of the Long Island serial killer stuff.
Long Island, that's close to me. Okay, Jess and Allie, what do you think happened to Maura?
I think she was the victim of foul play. I just really don't see a girl with her knowledge of the White Mountains running blindly into the dark forest and just dying of exposure.
I agree.
I think she was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I think I just have so many different theories on it. You know, it could go back to her being followed by somebody from UMass and whatnot, but now she knew that area too well. It's just definitely foul play and unfortunate. Next question is, how do you think the perpetrator physically got a hold of Maura?
I think she either willingly got into the vehicle, maybe thinking someone was going to help her and ended up not helping her, or maybe she accidentally wandered onto the wrong property somewhere.
Okay, Allie. Go ahead, Allie.
Sorry, Olivia. I was going to say, I think that someone probably stopped and offered a ride, and unfortunately, can't always trust, and I think she might have gotten in the wrong vehicle, unfortunately.
Yeah. That red truck, you know, I go through, I don't know, Mark, if I can say this, you know, there's so many theories about that red truck. I kind of think when she got to that curve, something blinded her. Maybe there was activity, police activity, or a plow or something, and I think maybe she hit that the back of that truck, because I could tell by the damage on it, she spun around. And, you know, they said, somebody had said they saw that truck down the road, and I'm wondering if maybe they saw who picked her up and they were trying to get cell tower service. I don't know. There's just so many things that go through your mind, you know. It's just kind of crazy.
Yeah.
You know? So many unanswered.
Yeah, it's just there's too many loose ends, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, with all you heard about Maura's case, without naming names, do you have a suspect in mind?
I don't really have suspects. I guess there's people I'd like to learn more about, because
yeah, you don't have to name people.
I hear a lot about certain people, but there's very little information about the case in general, you know, but I don't know, maybe people are scared of a few certain people in town or something.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, you know. And Jess, the same question.
Allie. And this is Allie. And again, it's...
Oh, Allie, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Like you said, there's just too many unanswered questions. I don't really have a good theory or a good suspect, because anytime you think you have an idea, there's just something else that pops up that you're just like, nope, that can't be it.
Mm-hmm.
No, it can't be. You know, I go through the same thing here, you know, and it's just crazy. You think, oh, it's this person. And then something else happens, something else comes up, and you say, no, it can't be that person.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
So I don't think any of us have a favorite suspect. I think right now everybody's just guilty. That's what I say. Everybody in that area, I don't know, they're all kind of sketchy.
It'd be great if we could narrow it down, but...
Yeah, you can't. Okay.
Okay, let's take a short pause for the cause, and when we return, more conversation with Olivia, Jess, and Allie. Be back in a moment. Welcome back to our MJA podcast. This series, Deep into the Woods. This is episode 19, part 4. Missing Maura Murray and the Search. Is it possible during the next boots on the ground search for Miss Murray, you two could attend the search?
Absolutely. We're hoping so.
Okay. And Jess, have you ever had any contact with the Murray family?
I have emailed them using the contact information on their site, and Julie responded. It was in regards to the coat Maura was wearing in the ATM footage. There has been a lot of debate on what she was wearing when she disappeared, and I just was looking at the images and realized that there was a photo on the website of her wearing a very similar jacket. I emailed and he wrote back to me. We kind of discussed it.
And Allie, the same question. Have you ever had any contact with the Murray family?
No, I have not.
And Allie, since you have joined MJA, do you feel you will become more active doing searches?
Absolutely. I feel like, we accomplished quite a bit working together. The weekend we did meet up, and I'm excited to see what else we can do together.
And Jess, the same question.
Yeah, it's something I've always wanted to become involved in, and I'm glad that I'm finally able to do that.
And Jess, do you understand that you can present any case to MJA to see if we could work on the case?
Yeah, part of the reason I wanted to join was because you guys are willing to take on any case, not just high-profile cases. I really feel bad for all the families out there that are searching for their loved ones or searching for the people responsible for, deaths of their loved ones.
And Allie, the same question.
I do understand that, and I appreciate the resources that you guys are providing.
And have you two agreed upon a case that you would like to have MJA to look at?
We have the 2014 disappearance of Jonathan Schaff on the New York-Vermont border. Like Allie said earlier, we're working on reaching out to his family to offer MJA's services.
And is it true both of you sent me info concerning that case?
Yeah, we actually emailed the Vermont Missing Person page and some news articles that were from as recent as 2020. It's a case we both think about often because, again, it took place in Vermont. A young adult disappeared off the side of the road.
Doing something that a normal night too.
And do you understand, after putting a case file together and contacting the proper people, you two will be the field case agents concerning that case?
Yeah. Again, we just want to help find answers for families in any way we possibly can. You can't imagine their situation, so.
Yeah. Okay, Olivia, you can take over the questions.
Sure. Allie, what would you like to tell the suspects that might be involved in these unsolved mysteries?
Really just that these people are missed and that we want answers for the families. It's not just the families that miss these people or want answers.
Okay. Jess, how about you? What do you have to say? Same question.
You can't hide forever. Especially these days with advances in DNA analysis, and
Right.
I can't imagine living life always looking over your shoulder, wondering if today's the day you get caught. So.
Yeah. And Jess, is there anything you would like to say to the victim's family concerning the cases you'll be working on?
I hope we can help you find answers. I'm doing this just because I care. There's no money involved or anything. Even some of my friends kind of don't understand why I want to do this.
Right. Right.
I can't, but I've always liked to help others. So if there's anything I can do, I'll do it.
Both sound like good people, and you have good hearts. You're giving your time up for this. It's very rare you find people like you two that are willing to do something like this. Allie, the same question for you. What would you like to say to the victim's family?
Pretty much the same thing. Just, we don't want them, we want them to know their loved ones are not forgotten, and we want to do and to help, whatever that may be. I mean, we're not professionals. We just care about people and would like to think someone would do the same thing, and, God forbid we were ever put in that circumstance, or a family member even.
Right. Okay. Mark?
Yeah, go ahead and read. It's all yours.
Oh, all right. Here are a few lines that MJA uses all the time. When MJA walks into an investigation, we have to use 6 senses: hearing, sight, touch, smell, taste, and the last being mental. Using your mental abilities will bring the other 5 together like a tossed salad. It takes mental and physical abilities to preserve the integrity of the crime scene. The integrity of the crime scene is the utmost importance, so the calling cards left behind will reveal themselves. The methods used to preserve the integrity of the crime scene and the collecting of evidence are based on some common sense with a scientific twist. Allie, would you agree with those lines?
I do. I think a lot of being is just a mental state, and you can't fully gather everything until you have a mental idea of what it is you're doing and why you're doing it, and keeping the family members in, your heart and in your head, and trying to maintain that sense of level-headedness.
Okay, and Jess, how about you?
Yeah, it makes sense. You can't just rely on one thing to correct the case. All aspects of it are, like puzzle pieces. You got to put it all together before you can see the whole picture.
Right. Okay, Mark.
And here's another couple lines MJA has used since day one. Our loyalty belongs to the victims and to the victim's family. We hope and pray you gain what you seek. Jess, do you think those lines sums up what a person should be like when they become involved in unsolved mysteries?
100%. If you're doing it for any other reason, you're in the wrong line of work.
Allie, the same question.
Agreed. I mean, the only people that matter are the victims and the families, and getting answers for them.
Okay.
There's no that matters.
And Jess, is there anything you would like to add?
I'm grateful for the opportunity to work with a team like MJA. I look forward to doing whatever it takes to help the victims and their families get justice or answers. They've waited too long.
Okay. And Allie, is there anything you would like to add?
No, I think Jess summed it up. I think we're both on the same page here, and that's why we're so eager to work together and to work with MJA. And again, I feel like with your knowledge and resources and what we're capable and willing to do, I feel like this could be a good direction for everybody.
And Olivia, do you have any last words?
Yeah, I just want to say, as for the families, I hope you find closure soon. And most specifically with these two girls that we spoke of tonight, Brianna and Maura, they've been gone so long. I believe somebody must have seen something, and if you did, it really is time you speak up. And I've mentioned this before in one of our podcasts. For you girls that enjoy hiking with your animals, don't go alone into the woods. It's not safe. And these cases, people are disappearing, and they're still disappearing. So just, if you need to go for your hike or whatever, take people with you. Not just your dog. It's not safe. That's it.
I have a quote for you all. A simple hello could lead to a million things. Author unknown. I would like to give a high five thanks for Olivia for being on the show tonight. We want to give a special thanks for our other staff members, Jess and Allie, for joining us tonight. And we want to give a very special thanks to our viewers and listeners for tuning in, for you all have been so kind. Always remember, folks, if you ever get bored with nothing to do, well, take a walk deep into the woods. You might be surprised at what you might find. That's the end of our MJ podcast, this series, Deep into the Woods. This has been episode 19, part 4, Missing Maura Murray and the Search. And we say to all of you, good night from Plattsburgh, New York.
All my friends are heathen, take it slow. Wait for them to ask you who you know. Please don't make any sudden moves. people that they love one day docked away. Just because you check the guns at the door doesn't mean the brains will change from hand to grenade.